Greetings, my people. I greet you in the words of a BB488, African Liberation. Back with you one more time. As you see the title, it is for the Judas and the Black Messiah movie. Um, and I kind of always like to, I don't want to spoil the movie, but I always like to give my interpretation of what I saw. Um, So, plenty of us, we already know, well, I'm not going to say plenty of us, but a vast majority of us should know the story of Chairman Fred Hampton out of Chicago. Um, and when we get into the thing of this Black Messiah, uh, we have to, I would strictly say we got to start with J. Edgar Hoover and that thing of preventing a Black Messiah or a Black Savior to help the people. So we're gonna start there and just kind of work our way down with the name Black Messiah. And okay, I was a little leery at first, because of the brother that was playing him. Pretty much like the One Night in Miami movie, and a lot of other movies where they will portray a lot of our strongest warriors, our strongest heroes, sheroes, i.e. the Harriet Tubman movie. They'll kind of water them down, or yeah, that's the best way I can say it, kind of dilute that character. So I was interested in saying, I hope they don't mess this movie up. I hope they really don't like make him like for the One Night in Miami. Now, in my personal opinion, I felt like how they did Malcolm X was an injustice. I felt like they made him look cowardly. I felt he didn't get the respect that he commanded or the respect that this was given. Now, this is my interpretation. I wasn't a big fan of that movie and the depictions of either of those characters. So with Chairman Fred, he was also a Virgo like myself. So I was like, he's one of my favorite that I have learned from. And I was really interested in how they were going to do this character. But to my surprise, both the brother, I always forget how to pronounce his name, but I know his first name is Daniel, the one that played Fred, and Lakeith Stansfield, playing William O'Neill. Excellent jobs from acting perspective. And kind of like I was just doing in my last video, I said, we're in such a crazy state where we will go look at a movie and we will see like the Malcolm X movie by Spike Lee. We'll see Birth of a Nation. We'll see Harriet. We'll see a lot of these movies, and we'll say they're good. Follow what I'm saying. We'll see our heroes or sheroes assassinated. We'll see how they destroyed us. We'll see how they just neutralized everything we tried to do as Black people. And we'll say, oh, that was a good movie. So I'm attempting to get out of saying our destruction and our carnage was a good story. Because from the beginning, it wasn't a story. This is actual events. To get into kind of like the storyline, William O'Neill was an idiot from the start, just from my perspective. He was an idiot. And this is why I think knowledge of self is so important. A lot of times, I'll just see things, and I've been guilty to get caught up in things. But as I'm growing, because I'm 39, as we look, I think Malcolm and Martin were both assassinated at 39. So I'm not a young man, but I'm not an old dog either. So I'm right in there, but I'm still growing. And that's the thing we must understand, that whether we are 30 or whether we are 75, the evolution continues. So as I process things in my head, I'm not gonna be one of these brothers that just get stuck in my way. And I'm 46 and I'm still the same way, and I'm still talking radical cracker talk. That's cool. Everybody know me, know how I am, but there has to be levels of elevation. What I'm saying to this point. And when we just looked at the William O'Neill character, we saw no self-worth, no knowledge of self. So anybody that, if you don't have a culture of your own, any culture, if you don't have something, anything would do. So also the movies was told from his perspective, which was like, um, what I took from it, I felt like pretty much like we're gonna use some other movies like Lee Daniels' The Butler, with Forrest Whitaker, Oprah Winfrey. If we can remember that movie, how one son went into the army and he was looked at as, he's patriotic, he's a hero, he's fighting for his country, right? But when you understand your African self, you understand your black self, you understand African pride, you understand black pride, whatever one you want to do. I'm not going to split hairs like the Moors, we ain't black. Yeah, you know what? We have to stop being so technical about everything. What I'm learning in my evolution. So going from the Lee Daniels movie to how they depict it, if we ever watch that movie, if you ever look at how Oprah Winfrey treated his girlfriend, their son that was in the movement, girlfriend, how they treated that lifestyle versus the American joining the army. They looked at it as it's this, and another thing we have to get away from is like saying black mark, dark energy. Like some one of my friends, and I'll talk with her, but one of my friends was doing an excellent video on talking about the truth behind Valentine's Day over the weekend, and she made the because sometimes we really don't think about things. I've been guilty of saying, it got a dark vibe to it. It got a dark energy to it. We got to kind of get away from that because, in my opinion, through the mental side and the psychosis of us denouncing being black, because everything, as none of Francis Chris Wilson has told us, everything blackball, black sheep, everything black magic. It has a evil or sinister connotation, but everything is dark or black. Make sense what I'm saying? So anytime we're talking about any radical like movies or any movies that surface around Black Panthers, I felt like they kind of sensationalized the movement. They kind of focused on us going to war with the pigs instead of showing why we are at war. We don't just take guns and go out in the street. We're not like that. That's not what Africans do. That's not what black people do. We're warriors, we're soldiers, but we don't just go starting stuff. That's always been the European nature. So I felt like they kind of sensationalized the movie and they sensationalized the movement. And one of my brothers and I, we were talking and we said, hey, when you do this work, there is no, you go out and with a glory and you're running around and you're shooting at the pigs or you shooting at the crackers and none of that. A lot of times it's tedious organizing. It's getting strategy together. It's building camaraderie with people. This is the stuff they don't want to show you. This is the stuff that doesn't get all the glory. This is like watching a basketball game. We'll see the alley hoop. We'll see all of these old monster dunks. We'll see the three-pointers. We'll see all the sensational highlights. But we don't understand taking the charge. We don't understand pick a steal in the last minute or 20-something seconds that gains you a possession to help you win. So sometimes we're so busy looking at the big things and we want to look at the sensational part. I feel like that's what happens when our stories are told from a Hollywood perspective. It's always sensationalized and it's always going to look at it like we are radical and we are bad and we're going. So that was kind of like one thing I picked up. And then it was kind of like how, you know, when because I was talking to a lot of people, and I always give credit. So if I'm giving these analogies or these people, I always give credit to where I get stuff from. One of my Jagnas, she would always say, "Give credit," and Jagna is an African version of mentor. We don't use the word mentor; that's a whole nother topic. But Jegna, Jegna. Okay, and always give credit. And I was talking to one of my cousins, and she was saying um that they tried to minimize J. Edgar Hoover and the Pigs Road. And they always try to show like these the pigs in kind of like or the crackhead like I'm having a moral moment, but you know, and in my interpretation, they're they're they don't have morality. I just put it out there. You can't do what you've done and continue to do to a collective of people and have more morality. So that's why I don't subscribe to them having these feelings of regret or remorse. I just don't see it. Also, kind of things because I'm not and I'm like, okay, all our people now. In the other video, I was saying, I've been sharing Chairman Fred, just from the Virgo commonality and the powerful speaker that he was. He was 21 years old. He was 21 years old. And what happened, the ability to galvanize the people in the way that he was at 21. Now, whether we have an agreement on the ideology or whether he was an integrationist or he was a separatist, at the grand scheme of things, at the end of the day, your ideology doesn't matter. I could be against white folks all day. I can be against Europeans. I can be against Jews. I can be against Arabs. I can be against. My ideology doesn't matter. What matters is your ability to effectively galvanize the people and be effective. If you are effective, if you can make people listen, if you can gather the people. Now, me, I want to start with gathering my people. I don't want to try to gather everybody. I want to try to gather what looks like me, what I resonate with first. Okay, so when we go back and we listen to none of Malcolm X, he says there has to be some black on black unity before we start. Sometimes I feel like we just want to always, include everybody. Everything ain't meant for everybody. Now that doesn't say that doesn't go to say that you can't have kind of we got allies, but we have to understand our respective villages. That's from my perspective. But his ability at 21, think about the average 21-year-old now. I know I wasn't like that at 21 years old. The level of consciousness this young brother had. Mark Clark, who was and then they called it a shootout. There was only one shot, and that really was a reaction shot from them shooting him. So we have Mark Clark he has the shotgun, and the only shot that's fired is a reaction shot. But what happens is majority of our movements are always taken down by some neo-colonialist just traitor. A lot of our people now, what we must do, because we always say, what I don't like is always we blame our people. Now we own our stuff, correct? And we take responsibility for what we do. But what we can't do is place the total blame of our plight on our own people. That's just something I'm not willing to ever subscribe to. Of saying Africans sold Africans into slavery. Well, we our own worst enemy. We're our only enemy from our understanding. We're only comfortable with being enemies with ourselves. A lot of us don't even feel comfortable condemning Jews, condemning Chinese, condemning Arabs, condemning Europeans. You get what I'm saying? So I don't subscribe to just saying, oh, he was just a total downfall. It was a collective, because whenever we've seen they've taken out Martin Luther King, we've seen no matter who they've taken out, it's always had government being involved, correct? So they're totally not innocent. And the assassination of Malcolm X, these were carried out by Nation of Islam traitors. This is fact. But at the core head of it was COINTELPRO, was the government. So these are just like really basics. So a question that I have, I said, okay, well, if everybody is upset with William O'Neal, fair game, be upset with him. But we're upset with him, but we overlook Ron Karenga. We overlook Ron Karenga to celebrate Kwanzaa. Now, if we understand who Ron Karenga is, and we look at Bunchy Carter and John Huggins, to me, it's the same thing, if you ask me. But we have this kind of like a selective memory, or we have like this selective outrage, or we have people that we choose to, like even in all fields. Like one I didn't like was, a lot of people ganged up on Kanye. And they said, okay, like they treated Kanye. There was a Crip call for Kanye. But people like Young Thug continue to, everybody was upset with him. But we look at people like Young Thug, who's given a pass for their mental side. We're giving a pass to other people who just disrespect our ancestors in the same fashion that Kanye. So I'm not saying give anybody a pass, but what I'm saying is be fair. If you're going to be hard on one person, be hard on that. Don't take it easy because that's your favorite person. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of times we have to open up and really understand who Ron Karenga is. Really understand what he did with the tying up and the mutilating of the women. So we just have to really understand what it is that we're looking at, what it is that we're talking about. So I don't want to say it was a good movie because it was sad to me, because they always show us almost having progress, but almost don't count. We could have had it. We were on the brink of having it. It was taken from us. So I would say, let our children learn from Chairman Fred. As my elder tells me all the time, he said, I should be the hero to my children. He says nothing wrong with having Malcolm X, whoever, Khalid Muhammad, whoever we want to choose, but I should be the first hero. And I'm saying this to you, to my viewers, that you be your children's first hero. But instead of like having like Aquaman, Spider-Man, Batman, Dora the Explorer, give them some Yah Santawat. Give them our mentor, Harriet Tubman. Give them Assata Shakur. Give them Octavia Butler. For brothers, give them Chairman Fred. Give them Malcolm. Give them Amilcar Cabral. But also give them you. My mom is a great ancestor. My brother. Talk about my mom, my brother. So we can't forget about the ones that got us here physically. And learning not to be so petty and moving past our differences. I grow every single day. But other than that, like I said, from acting standpoint, the acting was on point. But it wasn't a good film to watch us be murdered. But I just want us to get it together. So that's why I always, one of the things I'll say, learn to love. Give people hugs. Give your family hugs. Unless they're just family members that you just can't work things out with. But for the most, love on the ones that you got. Don't focus on being petty. Don't focus on, don't take pride in cutting people off and being cold and distant, because that's not what the revolution is about. That's not what the movement is about. That's not what collective communalism is about. Being cold, mistreating people. Because at the height, like I just said, we're only going to mistreat people that look like us. Only going to mistreat people that look like us. We have too much sympathy and love for everybody else that don't look like us. So here is where we should start, with people that look like us. And as we just go on our journey, just go grow through your journey. Love your loved ones, because we never know when they could be laying on their deathbed. So that's all I wanted to do. I just really didn't want to like do a spoiler. But if you have any comments, and you can hit me up on my Instagram, I Speak the Truth 39, or you can hit me up on my Facebook, Obasi Kente, OBASI KINTE. Um, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you be all right. But I leave you how I greeted you, in the words of a BB for Holier, African liberation. And it's not just so the continent, the liberation of your African heart, your African spirit that dwells within you. This is Africa. This is Africa. But more importantly, the liberation of your African mind. We get so technical with places, you know. So that's pretty much it I have. BB for Hodier. Peace.